Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. 3 Kingdoms. Conquering 3 family slaves at the beginning, Liu Bei's face turns green. Cao Xuan traveled until the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty and became Cao Cao's most beloved but least favorite son. My son Cao Xuan, although you are intelligent, your body is weak and cannot compare to several brothers. I'm afraid you won't be able to inherit the great cause of the orphan. As a father, I don't expect you to make achievements, as long as you live a healthy and happy life. Cao Cao's love for his son moved heaven and earth. But Lord, young Master Xuan ruled out public opinion and saved the 3 surnames of the household slaves named Liu Bu, giving him the name Cao Bu. Lord, young Master Xuan has strategized and ordered General Cao Bu to launch a surprise attack on Yuan Shao's camp, execute Zhuge Liang and Yuan Shao. We have won the Battle of Guandu. Lord, Master Xuan had anticipated that Zhuge Liang would launch a fire attack and sent General Cao Bu to infiltrate the enemy's rear, capturing the great ear rebel alive. Cao Cao laughed and said, "Hahaha, my son Cao Xuan is truly the most wise person in the world." Cao Xuan. Xiao Bu, Diao Chan was dreaming last night and seemed to mention your name again. LV CaoFeilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Father, don't fall for the treachery of the great ear thief. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Father, don't fall for the scheme of the great ear thief. Seeking flowers, seeking votes, 198 AD. In the late Han Dynasty, a group of heroes rise together, causing chaos in the world. Outside the city of Shepi, inside the Chou army camp. Duke Chou, have a word to say, don't spit it out or be quick. After tomorrow's attack on Shepi city, if the thief LV Bu is captured alive, he must show his head to the public, otherwise there will be great hidden dangers. Liu Bei, dressed in plain clothes and withered, spoke earnestly. Since being successively captured by LV Bu in Shuzhou, Shaopei and other places, Liu Bei, with his remaining soldiers and defeated generals, had no place to settle down and make a living. I can only seek refuge with Cao Cao's troops and survive. This time, as Cao Cao besieged the city in March, water flooded Shepi. We are about to annihilate the Liu Bu group in one fell swoop. As a guest minister, Liu Bei, disregarding his special status, repeatedly proposed to kill LV Bu. Liu Bei knew about Cao Cao and had always had a love for talent. When the 18 feudal lords were attacking Dongzhuo, he had the idea of recruiting himself. If LV Bu were to be taken under Cao Cao's command, it would probably be like adding wings to a tiger. Another person in the world is his opponent. In public and in private, Liu Bei must not let such a thing happen. Oh. Zhongda has always been generous, and today he wants to execute LV Bu alone. It seems that he still remembers his betrayal back then, and his heart is filled with indignation. Cao Cao stroked his beard and smiled lightly, ignoring his words. Liu Bei's careful thinking, with Cao Cao's wisdom, cannot be overlooked. This person has great ambitions and is also a relative of the Han family. If he doesn't have the ambition to conquer the world, even ghosts don't believe him. Not to mention being a fierce hero like Cao Cao. The reason why this guy is in a hurry to kill Liu Bu, I'm afraid it's due to ulterior motives and conspiracies. Cao Gong, Liu Bei is by no means a person with a small belly and chicken intestines. Liu Bei suddenly became anxious and stood up, saying, "Have you forgotten about Ding Jianyang in Dong Taisha back then? LV Bu is a wolf who harbors evil intentions, so we must be on guard." Cao Cao's originally indifferent gaze suddenly became solemn. Cao Cao is naturally suspicious. The scariest thing in life is being ambushed by one's own people. Otherwise, there would be no allusion to killing in a dream. A 3-surname family slave with low loyalty like Liu Bu. The possibility of rebellion is extremely high. Even when he gains power, he will plan to harm Cao Cao's life like he did to kill Ding Yuan and Dong Zhuo. At this moment, Cao Cao instinctively squinted his eyes. A killing intent suddenly arises in my heart. Seeing that Cao Cao had already developed a murderous intent towards Liu Bei smiled proudly and felt refreshed. Killing LV Bu is a small matter. The urgent task is not to let Cao Cao further strengthen his power. Cao Gong, you have prepared all your words here. Please think carefully and don't let small things lose big ones. After Liu Bei left, Cao Cao ordered people to invite Chengyu and Guojia to discuss the siege of the city tomorrow. I have made up my mind. After breaking the city tomorrow, I will strangle Liu Bu and his followers in public. I don't know if you two wise men have any objections, do you? Chengyu arched his hand and spoke up first, Your Highness, even if Liu Bu, a disloyal and unjust person, bravely leads the army, he cannot tolerate his life. Cao Cao nodded in satisfaction and then turned his gaze to Guojia, smiling and saying, Feng Shao, what is your opinion? Among all the strategists, Cao Cao was very concerned about Guojia's opinion. If he also supports the execution of LV Bu, then there is no room for further discussion. Guojia pondered for a moment before saying in a deep voice, Lord, the matter of killing LV Bu and his followers. Not waiting for Guojia to finish speaking. Suddenly, a loud explosion came from outside the camp. Father, don't fall for the treacherous plan of the great ear thief. LV Bu can only surrender, not be executed. The voice was slightly childish, mixed with a hint of weakness. It seems that the owner of the sound is weak and sickly, unable to be used much. Not long after, a graceful young master dressed in luxurious attire strode in. It is Cao Cao's favorite youngest son, Cao Xuan. Nonsense, my father is discussing military aviation matters. Xianer, you are a yellow-mouthed child. Don't talk nonsense. Left and right, crossed the young master out. Cao Xuan, who was also unlucky, was Cao Cao's favorite son. He just scolded him and kicked him out of the house. Change to Cao Pai or Cao Ji. The charge of trespassing on the Lord's camp alone cannot avoid a scolding. Father, you can punish your son, but please listen to me finish speaking first. Coincidentally, both gentlemen are here. If they both think I'm talking nonsense, then Cao Xuan is willing to lead the military law. Cao Xuanji shouted loudly, with a look of never turning back. Gan Ling Jun law. Cao Cao's eyelids twitched and he was almost about to burst into profanity. This youngest son is usually well behaved and sensible, gentle and submissive, and most likable to himself. Why are you so stunned today? You don't even want your life. You should know that with Cao Xuan's weak body, not to mention hitting the 30 army staff. I'm afraid if I stick it down, my soul will return to the sky and die completely. Cao Cao was about to say no, but was stopped by Guojia. Lord, since Master Xuan is so determined, why don't you first listen to his high opinion? It is important to speak widely and adopt advice, which is what Ming Jun does. Ming Jun. Chengyu on the side heard Guojia's words. My eyelids suddenly twitched, and my heart was filled with fear. Although the Han Dynasty is declining now, the emperor has no virtue. But the word Ming Jun has significant meaning. Is it something that Cao Cao can afford now? Even the northern hegemon Yuan Shao, who occupies the 4 secluded areas of Hebei and Qinghai, does not have this qualification. However, Cao Cao clearly did not care about Guojian's language mistakes. But with a helpless wave of his hand, he coldly said, well, since Feng Shao is begging for mercy, let that rebellious son finish speaking. Cao Xuan immediately broke free from the hands of Jia Shi, strode forward, and was about to speak. Guojia suddenly stopped in front of him and said in a calm voice, Young master, you must think carefully before you speak. Liu Bu is a person who indulges in debauchery and betrays his faith. He is truly a person who deserves to die for his crimes. If you only admire his bravery and skill in battle, and develop a love for talent, then there's no need to say more. To avoid getting dozens of military batons for nothing and making the Lord feel heartbroken. Although Guojia's tone is plain, every sentence is logical. A capable but disloyal subordinate. Even staying by your side is a curse. Cao Xuan bowed to Guojia and said in a deep voice, I will remember Guo Xuanming's good advice on sacrificial wine, but I still said the same thing. LV Bu cannot die, let him live, it will be of great use in the future. On the contrary, there is a thief who appears to be loyal but actually harbors evil intentions. He has spread rumors multiple times in our Chao camp, attempting to confuse his father's perspective. His heart is despicable. Father's butcher's knife should fall on that thief's head. If we let the tiger go back to the mountain, we will inevitably face endless troubles. Cao Cao frowned and said, Xiener, understand what you're saying. Who exactly is the thief you're talking about? The big-eared thief who weaves mats and sells shoes, Liu Bei. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was shocked. Seeking flowers and tickets. Chapter 2. Starting from today, your name is Cao Bu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Starting from today, your name is Cao Bu, this son has such insight. Qing Yu's eyes lit up and he couldn't help but take a few more glances at Cao Xuan. At that time, Liu Bei was defeated and even Xiao Pei was taken away by LV Bu. Like a bereaved dog, it can only rely on Cao Cao's account and is constantly anxious. Qing Yu knew how to observe people's faces and knew that Liu Bei was by no means an object in the pool. So he advised Cao Cao to execute Liu Bei in order to prevent future troubles. However, he was ultimately coerced by Guojia with the words, benevolence and righteousness, and missed the opportunity in vain. To this day, Qing Yu still felt that Liu Bei was as treacherous as loyalty and as hypocritical as truth. He is by no means a mediocre person who has been in the lower ranks for a long time. If one gains power in the future, they will inevitably escape the control of Cao Cao and become a major threat as dragons travel around the world. Master Xuan, we are currently discussing the life and death of LV Bu. Why do you mention Liu Bei? Isn't it a case of putting the cart before the horse? Guojia's face was somewhat displeased. At first, he tried to protect Cao Cao from killing Liu Bei, but now Cao Xuan has accused him of raising tigers as a threat. How can he not be angry? Moreover, Liu Bei is known throughout the world for his heroic reputation and chivalrous spirit. Don't forget, my lord. The death of the famous scholar Bian Rang in the past triggered a rebellion by Yenzhou literati such as Zhang Biao and Chen Gong, and the negative impact has not been eliminated to this day. In the 4th year of Chu Ping, the famous scholar Bian Rang was ordered to be executed by him for his contempt and slander of Cao Cao, resulting in unrest and rebellion in various counties of Yenzhou. Afterwards, although the rebellion was quelled, Cao Cao also had many reflections. Regret for not having the capacity to tolerate others and killing famous scholars without permission. Now, upon hearing Guojia mention this matter, Cao Cao nodded heavily and said in a deep voice, filial piety makes sense. Xiener, don't talk nonsense. Since Liu Bei is attached to the orphan, he cannot be killed, otherwise it will chill the hearts of famous scholars in the world. Of course, Cao Xuan knew that now was not the best time to kill Liu Bei. But in order to save Liu Bu's life, only by mixing the two together can there be a glimmer of survival. Father, since you think Liu Bei cannot be killed, then LV Bu cannot be killed even more. Liu Bu is notorious for his nonsense. How can he be compared to Liu Bei? Cao Cao slapped the handsome case and angrily said, besides, LV Bu has a wolf-like heart, and his subordinates are fierce generals like clouds. If we don't kill him, if we rebel again in the future, wouldn't it be asking for trouble? Guojia also silently nodded in agreement. Liu Bu, this person, has never done anything related to others. Kill Ding Yuan and Dong Zhuo, these shameful acts of extermination of human relations, let's not worry about them for now. He even insulted the wives and concubines of his beloved generals recklessly, treating them as worthless. This kind of disloyal and unjust villain. Even if there are countless cuts, it is not a pity. Cao Xuan said, "Father's words are not right. Liu Bei's evil lies in his heart, far from being compared to brainless fools like Liu Bu." At the beginning of Liu Bei's uprising, he successively sought refuge with the power of various feudal lords such as Wu Chui, Gong Sun Zan, and Tao Qian. In the end, the fate of these people is evident to everyone. Who could have ended well? Now, Liu Bei, the plague god, has come to rely on his father again. If he has no ill intentions, his son will be the first to not believe. Cough cough cough. At the end, Cao Xuan became filled with righteous indignation, and his voice suddenly became a bit loud. So much so that his face flushed and he coughed incessantly. Xianer. Cao Cao felt anxious for a while when he saw the situation. He loves this little son the most on weekdays, so much so that when he goes to war, he also has to carry it with him. If it weren't for Cao Xuan's small, weak and sickly body, it wouldn't be the sign of longevity. Cao Cao even had the idea of appointing Cao Xuan as the crown prince. Lord, what Master Xuan said is not without reason. At this moment, Chengyu, who had been silent all along, suddenly spoke up. Guojia gave Chengyu a deep glance, seemingly not expecting him to help Cao Xuan speak. Oh. Zhongda, what's your opinion? Chengyu Dao said, as Xian Gongzi said, Liu Bei and LV Bu are actually the same kind of people, and even Liu Bei hides deeper and is less likely to be detected by people. Since the Lord is generous enough to accommodate Liu Bei, this fierce tiger, he can naturally take in Liu Bu, this hungry wolf. Otherwise, it would be unfair. As soon as Guojia said this, he frowned and his face became even more ugly. Chengyu's meaning is clearly that if we want to kill LV Bu, then Liu Bei cannot stay either. Guojia is not against keeping Liu Bu's life. After all, with Cao Cao's great talent and strategy, he wouldn't be afraid of just a servant with 3 surnames. But Liu Bei's fate is related to Cao Cao's reputation and the hearts of famous scholars all over the world. Never handle it recklessly. My lord. Guojia wanted to say something more, but was stopped by Cao Cao waving his hand. Filial piety, wait a moment, listen to my son finish speaking first. Xianer, as you said before, leaving LV Bu's life will be of great use in the future. What is the meaning behind? Upon hearing Cao Cao's question, Cao Xuan stood up straight and his face became unusually solemn. He raised his arm, pointed into the distance, and said in a deep voice, because of the north, Yuan Shao. As soon as these words were spoken, even Guojia's body shook. His gaze showed a hint of astonishment. Chengyu nodded silently, praising in his heart. This son has profound thoughts, far beyond the reach of ordinary people. As for Cao Cao, his eyes were constantly shining with gold, and even his gaze at Cao Xuan changed. Cao Xuan continued, Father has eliminated LV Bu and recaptured various counties in Shuzhou, greatly increasing his strength. Looking at the world, only Yuan Shao from Hebei can compete with you. Yuan Shaoxiong has been located in the north for many years, with a deep foundation. The Yuan family has 4 generations and 3 nobles, and their family members and officials are spread throughout the country, with great influence. The generals under his command are extremely brave, such as General Yan Liang, Wen Chou, Chunyu Qiong and others, and are among the top generals in the world. So Cao Xuan thought that a living Liu Bu was far more meaningful than a dead person. At least with General Fei's combat power, Yan Liang's literary and ugly disciple is just a joke in front of him. After listening to Cao Xuan's words, Cao Cao's eyebrows relaxed and a hint of relief appeared on his face. As for this, Cao Cao had already had a definite plan in his heart. As Cao Xuan said, a living Liu Bu is far more meaningful than a dead person. My son has such foresight, and I am very pleased to be a father. Zhongda, filial piety, what is your opinion? Cheng Yu and Guojia bowed and arched their hands, saying in unison, Master Xuan, you have great vision. Hahaha, since that's the case, if Liu Bu and others are willing to surrender when the city of Shepi is destroyed, I can keep them alive. Hoo. After obtaining the desired result, Cao Xuan finally breathed a sigh of relief. He struggled to articulate the pros and cons. Even willing to drag Liu Bei and Yuan Shao into the water. Just to save Liu Bu's dog life. At the same time, a cold voice sounded in Cao Xuan's ears. Congratulations to the host for completing the task and officially launching the system. Upon hearing this incredibly familiar voice, Cao Xuan's lips slightly curved upwards, revealing a sinister smile. Rebirth of the Three Kingdoms, his cheating artifact, has finally been unlocked. The next evening. Bu, thank you for not killing me, Lord. LV Bu, who was bound by various flowers, knelt down on both knees and kowtowed heavily to Cao Cao. LV Bu, from today on, you will be my son Cao Xuan's personal guard. Upon hearing this, LV Bu was startled and instinctively cast his gaze onto Cao Xuan. However, soon Liu Bu reacted and kowtowed respectfully to Cao Xuan. Bu, I am willing to work hard for the young master. Although becoming a yellow-mouthed child's guard is a bit embarrassing. But compared to losing a small life, it's still much better. Besides, who am I, LV Bu? A great man, how can he stay below others for a long time? In Liu Bu's heart, he pondered how to make a comeback. Cao Xuan's cold voice rang out in his ear. Liu Bu, due to your previous reputation being too despicable, I have decided to change your name. From today on, your name is Xiao Bu. Chapter 3. Bring Diao Chan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Bring Diao Chan, ding, obtain resentment from Xiao Bu, points plus 99. Cao Xuan's sword eyebrows furrowed slightly, and his face looked a bit strange. Complaint points. It's quite a fresh thing. But at this moment, Cao Xuan didn't have time to think carefully, because LV Bu was still kneeling on the ground, his face solemn to the extreme. Not as grateful as expected. The ancients valued inheritance the most. Family surnames are passed down from generation to generation. It is something that is 100 times more valuable than wealth and life. When Ding Yuan and Dong Zhuo adopted LV Bu as their adopted son, they did not force him to change his surname. Now, just being a mere personal guard, he even changed his name. It's a great shame. Xiao Bu, it seems that you have a strong opinion on my young master's decision. Cao Xuan naturally saw that LV Bu was not angry in his heart, and a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. LV Bu still lowered his head and remained silent. Silent protest. Since that's the case, General Chou, please strangle the rebel Liu Bu and fulfill his loyalty in filial piety. Yes, Chou takes orders. Not long after, a burly man who was 8 feet long and had a rough appearance emerged from the crowd. This person is Cao Cao's personal guard, General Hu Ben Chou. Chou had long been displeased with LV Bu, so when he received Cao Xuan's general, his face was filled with excitement. In no time, Chou dragged a large iron chain about the thickness of his arm and held onto LV Bu's collar with one hand. He sneered, 3 family servants, dying under your grandfather Su is the greatest blessing in your life. Take your life. After speaking, I will tie the iron chain around Liu Bu's neck and try to strangle him. On weekdays, with Chou's fighting power, he was naturally not a match for Liu Bu. But now Liu Bu's hands and feet are trapped, and the hidden dragon is in the abyss. Even with all the tricks, it's difficult to apply them. Qiao Gong, why come here? Why come here? At the moment of life and death, LV Bu blushed and shouted loudly to Cao Cao, Qiao Gong, there is a square sky painted halberd on cloth, and 1,000-mile red rabbit and horse under his crotch. He can help you expand territory and establish a meritorious service that never fails. Why let a yellow-mouthed child humiliate me so much? Lu Bu's voice was extremely mournful and chilling. Faced with Lu Bu's plea, Cao Cao remained expressionless and ignored it. But instead, he handed over the power of life and death to Cao Xuan. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 89. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 199. Looking at the constantly rising resentment value, Cao Xuan kept sneering in his heart. To tame wolves into obedient dogs, it is necessary to go through several complex processes. Among them, the most crucial aspect is to instill fear in him towards his master. If LV Bu can't even adapt to the small matter of changing his name, how could Cao Xuan rest assured that he would lead troops in battle and establish his own foundation? I'm afraid that one mistake will lead to the footsteps of Dong Zhuo and Ding Yuan. Zhongda, my younger brother, do you still remember shooting halberds at the Yuan gate? We have a life-saving grace together. Help me plead with Duke Chao, I don't want to die. Seeing that Cao Cao remained unmoved, Lu Bu placed his hopes on Liu Bei. I hope he can save his life based on past relationships. Liu Bei glanced at Cao Cao and then at Cao Xuan, and couldn't help but furrow his brows and look depressed. Liu Bei had long heard that Cao Cao doted on his young son Cao Xuan. Even when going out for battle, you have to bring it with you. Unexpectedly, he was so playful that he handed over the life of the fierce General LV Bu to a child. Let your overall plan fall short. At this moment, Liu Bei took a deep breath and bowed to Cao Cao, saying, Ming Gong, yesterday Bei had already stated his interests. Liu Bu, this thief, harbors evil intentions and cannot be left behind. I hope you can prioritize the overall situation and execute him. After speaking, Liu Bei gave Cao Xuan a deep glance. Ding, obtain resentment from Liu Bei, points plus 87. Yoho, you still hate me. Cao Xuan gave a faint smile. In his heart, he had long been displeased with this hypocritical thief. If it weren't for the concern for Cao Cao's reputation, it wouldn't be appropriate to kill famous scholars at this time. The first thing Cao Xuan did after subduing LV Bu was to cut off Liu Bei with one knife and eliminate any future troubles. Brother Zhongda's words are not accurate. At this moment, Guojia walked out of the crowd and said in a loud voice, the life and death of Liu Bu have nothing to do with the overall situation. How my lord will act, it's not up to you, a guest who lives as a sojourner, to talk nonsense and mess up the rules. You. Liu Bei was impatient, but could only feel angry in his heart. Guojia is the chief strategist of Cao Cao, and he must not offend himself. Big ear thief, you are treacherous. It's better to be a pig than a dog. You can't believe it the most. Upon learning that Liu Bei not only refused to rescue, but also fell into the well and stomped on himself. Liu Bu's eyes were bloodshot, and he wished he could rush forward and bite Liu Bei's flesh and blood. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 133. Now it's Cao Xuan's turn to be unhappy. Why do you hold grudges against me when you curse Liu Bei in your mouth? He is indeed a fickle villain. As Su Chu's iron chain became increasingly entangled, LV Bu could no longer breathe and saw stars in his eyes. When the time was ripe, Cao Xuan walked up to Liu Bu and asked again, Cao Bu, do you know what's wrong? Bu, I know. I'm wrong. Please spare my life, young master. Liu Bu knelt at Cao Xuan's feet with difficulty, tears in his eyes, pleading bitterly. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 199. After hearing the notification from the system, Cao Xuan's face was gloomy, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. The resentment did not diminish at all. It seems that this biting wolf has not been completely subdued yet. Humph, General Su Chu, could you please use some more force? This tough guy is stubborn, and if you don't show him some color, he won't be submissive. Delying. Su Chu roared all over, his arm muscles exerting force again. Ah! Dad! Spare! Spare my life! Lu Bu's face turned into pig liver, and gradually he couldn't even speak fluently. Even started talking nonsense. Cao Bu, do you know what's wrong? The same sentence was spoken again from Cao Xuan's mouth. Cao Bu, no. Know your mistake. Intermittent sounds emanated from LV Bu's mouth. Like a dying voice, incredibly desolate. This time, Cao Xuan did not hear the prompt sent by the system. At the critical moment of life and death, LV Bu, no, it was Cao Bu who completely gave up his dignity. Willing to be an obedient dog. Not far away, I witnessed the entire process of Cao Xuan taming Cao Bu with my own eyes. Cao Cao's eyes were filled with shock, and he said to Guojia beside him, "Filial piety, what is my son doing? Why did he deliberately make Lu Bu suffer so much before he was willing to spare his life?" Guojia smiled mysteriously and looked at Cao Xuan's back, saying calmly, "Lord, when I traveled around the world, I found that Xian Gongzi's methods were similar to the Chang people's methods of refining hungry wolves. The saying goes, put it to death and be reborn. I believe that under the careful training of Master Xuan, Cao Bu will become a world-renowned general and serve the Lord. Master Xuan, you are truly a divine being." With Guojia's insight, it is natural to easily see Cao Xuan's intentions. But he didn't expect that this seemingly weak young master would actually know how barbarians train wolves. It's really unbelievable. Hahaha, if that's really the case, my son should remember the top priority. Upon hearing Guojia praise his son, Cao Cao laughed heartily, his heart sweeter than honey. Throughout the room, only Liu Bei stared at Cao Xuan's back with a sinister gaze. Damn it, it's bad for me. You wait for me. After secretly venting his grievances, Liu Bei shook his sleeve and left with a long swing. Ding, obtain resentment from Liu Bei, points plus 99. Cao Xuan turned around and looked at Liu Bei's distant figure, feeling a chill in his heart. Shepi City, inside the wing room. Cao Xuan looked at Cao Bu who couldn't get up on the ground, took a sip of tea, and said calmly, "Cao Bu, go find your beloved concubine Diao Chan." Chapter 4. Anger soars up, rewards are abundant. You are listening at novel full.audio. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 10086. Pushi Cao Xuan was shocked and almost choked to death by the tea in his mouth. The resentment points obtained this time have unexpectedly exceeded 10,000. It seems that Cao Bu's obsession with his beloved woman far exceeds his own life. However, upon closer examination, it is also within reason. In order to seize Diao Chan, this person would rather carry the bad name of being a servant with 3 surnames than assassinate Dongjua in front of the officials. This courage and jealousy are evident. Cao Xuan would not treat Cao Bu like other hypocritical monarchs, giving them countless beautiful women and money to win the loyalty of his beloved generals. Note that even if a servant with 3 surnames like Cao Bu gives all the beautiful women in the world to him to sleep, it cannot be exchanged for any loyalty from him. The simplest and most effective method is to completely suppress it from a spiritual level. At this moment, I heard that Cao Xuan was going to sleep with Diao Chan. Cao Bu suddenly looked up, with veins bulging on his forehead and red eyes, staring fixedly at Cao Xuan. A starving wolf that devours people without hesitation. Cao Xuan was not cowardly, and his clear eyes were also staring at Cao Bu. Not giving in at all. Now is a crucial moment for dog training. If Cao Xuan is intimidated by Cao Bu's murderous intent, he dare not look at him. All the previous efforts were in vain. To make a bad dog obey its owner, it must demonstrate 100 times stronger power than it. As long as there is a little bit of fear, it will sow the seeds of hidden dangers and cannot be completely subdued. Cao Xuan had seen too many dog trainers, but was bitten by his own dog and ultimately had to euthanize them. With the lesson from the past, Cao Xuan would have this trial to completely crush Xiao Bu's heart. What, you don't want to? For a long time, Cao Xuan's eyes gradually became cold. The gaze towards Xiao Bu was like looking at a dead object, without any emotion. Bu, I dare not. Xiao Bu bit his teeth into his flesh and clenched his fists, exuding deadly black blood. Obviously, he is trying his best to contain his anger. Where is Su Chu? Cao Xuan turned a blind eye to this and shouted loudly outside the door. Young master, what are your orders? Not long after, Su Chu's towering figure suddenly appeared in the wing room. In order to prevent Xiao Bu from harming Cao Xuan, Cao Cao specially ordered his beloved General Su Chu to monitor 24 hours a day. Beware of unexpected occurrences. Cao Xuan was well aware of this. At the same time, he also showed greater respect for Cao Cao. Being able to send out one's personal guards alone shows Cao Cao's indulgence in him. Seeing Su Chu suddenly appear, Xiao Bu's body trembled subconsciously. The fierce anger in his eyes disappeared without a trace in an instant. Instead, there is endless fear and fear. In fact, when it comes to the level of their military strength. Even if 3 Su Chu joined forces, they may not necessarily be opponents of Xiao Bu. But Su Chu once used an iron chain to hold Xiao Bu's throat, causing him to suffocate and die. Like a nightmare, deeply imprinted in Xiao Bu's heart. So when Xiao Bu saw Su Chu appear, he instinctively felt afraid and dared not look up at him. It was precisely because Cao Xuan knew this that he deliberately called Su Chu in. Play a role in shaking mountains and tigers. Xiao Bu, accompany General Su to bring Diao Chan to me. Did you hear me clearly? Cao Xuan's voice was icy and piercing, devoid of any emotion. Xiao Bu, take orders. Under the dual pressure of both spirit and body, Xiao Bu could only bow his head and obediently compromise with fate. Ding, obtain resentment from Xiao Bu, points plus 10,000. Another time breaking 10,000 points. Cao Xuan smiled and didn't take it seriously. If Xiao Bu is forced to offer Diao Chan to sleep with, he has no resentment at all, that is the most abnormal. Cao Xuan would actually feel uneasy. Back then, King Gojian of Yu was trapped as a slave in the state of Wu, suffering from 3 years of hardships. But he not only had no resentment at all, but also took the initiative to give his wife, who was tied in hair, to his husband for pleasure. In the end, King Fuchai of Wu was defeated and died, and Gojian became the last hegemon of the spring and autumn period. A hypocrite like Gojian who knows how to endure and has a smiling face all year round. That's the scariest thing. Just like Liu Bei at this moment. As for Xiao Bu and others, they have no ideas and are ambitious and talented. Far from that city mansion. Seeing no one around, Cao Xuan finally felt at ease and projected his consciousness into the system space, carefully pondering the effectiveness of resentment points. System, open the points redemption interface. In order to rush the time, Cao Xuan directly asked the system. In no time, the scene before me suddenly changed. A variety of dazzling products appeared before Cao Xuan's eyes. 3 Squirrels Snack Gift Pack, 23 points of resentment value. Premium Farong King Cigarette, 58 points of resentment value. Men's Leopard Print Flat-Bottomed Pants, 18 points of resentment value. Playboy Collection Edition Impurities, 99 points of resentment value. 5 years college entrance examination and 3 years simulated test paper, with a complaint score of 1009 points. Glancing roughly at the displayed goods in the system, Cao Xuan was sweating profusely and had countless grass mud horses running by in his heart. What kind of ghosts are these? It's almost becoming a supermarket. Please, I am currently in the 3 kingdoms, fighting on the battlefield and facing uncertainty. Do I need to use the college entrance examination paper for a little bit? Do you want to take the Three Kingdoms University entrance exam? Cao Xuan pouted and reluctantly opened the next page. This time, upon seeing the exchange items inside, Cao Xuan's eyes lit up. Branch. Tiger and Leopard Cavalry, Unit. Person, 200,000 resentment points. 3 sentences. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The author is a disabled person who broke his bike handle the day before yesterday, so he had to code with one hand, which was very difficult. I hope all empathetic gentlemen can help cast some flowers and votes for the sake of breaking hands and writing characters. Thank you. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. You, go wait outside the door. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 5. You, go wait outside the door. Inside Liu Bei's camp. Bastard, Cao Xuan's wheezy, yellow-mouthed child, how dare you break my plan. Liu Bei's face was as heavy as water, pacing back and forth in the camp, muttering curses in a low voice. A Zhongshan wolf like him, who hides deeply, always walks on thin ice. If it weren't for reaching an unbearable point, it wouldn't have been so impolite. Ah, the grudge has already been settled. If Liu Bu doesn't die, I'm afraid I'll have trouble sleeping and eating. You cannot continue to stay in Cao Cao's army, you must leave as soon as possible. After pondering for a long time, Liu Bei made up his mind not to stay in Cao camp anymore. One day, Lv Bu was highly valued by Cao Cao and held military power. So his situation is very dangerous. As Liu Bei pondered in his heart, for what reason did he bid farewell to Cao Cao outside the tent, a calm shout disrupted his thoughts. Big brother, I heard that Liu Bu's servant was not only exempted from death, but also became the personal guard of Cao Cao's young son. What should I do? In no time, a sturdy man, 9 feet long, with a face like a heavy jujube and a beard 2 feet long, strode in. This person is Guan Yu, the horse archer who killed Hua Xiong outside the Tiger Prison Pass. Seeing Guan Yu appear, Liu Bei instinctively frowned and felt inexplicably frustrated. His second younger brother has outstanding martial arts skills, decent appearance, loyalty, bravery, benevolence, and righteousness, making him one of the few heroes in the world. But there is also a significant flaw. It's just lustful like fate. Back then, it was precisely because of his greed for women that Guan Yu faced a life-threatening lawsuit in his hometown and engaged in a fierce battle with mischievous women. I just drifted to Shui County in Yuzhou and joined the uprising army. To this day, Guan Yu's fame has spread far and wide, and his heroic act of slaying Hua Xiong has made him a world-renowned general, dominating the world. But the problem of lust is not only that it has not restrained itself, but it is even more serious. Not long ago, as the city of Shepi was about to be destroyed, Liu Bu's death was not far away. Guan Yu specifically sought a woman from Liu Bei, who was Lv Bu's favorite concubine and was known as Diao Chan, the most beautiful woman in the world. An unparalleled beauty, perhaps in Guan Yu's heart. But in the hearts of heroes like Cao Cao and Liu Bei, women are nothing but luxurious and beautiful clothes. Far less important than the future love of confidants. Liu Bei has always been hypocritical, so he readily agreed and vowed to bring back a beautiful woman for Guan Yu. But the current situation, second brother, you came just in time. Now that Lv Bu is lucky enough not to die, there may be a great hidden danger for us brothers. I am thinking about how to bid farewell to Cao Cao and avoid making him feel resentful. Liu Bei held Guan Yu's hand, looking urgent and speaking confidently. But he didn't mention the matter of Diao Chan at all, as if he had forgotten it. Guan Yu is not a fool either, so he naturally understands Liu Bei's intentions. Unfortunately, the timing is not right now, and he can only restrain his resentment. Big brother, since that's the case, my third brother and I will listen to your dispatch. Liu Bei learned about Diao Chan and felt relieved. He was about to say some words of comfort. Suddenly, another rough and wild voice came out. It's Zhang Fei from Yen. Big brother, second brother, have you heard about it? Liu Bu, that scumbag, has become a dog now, and actually personally sent his beloved concubine Diao Chan to Cao Xuan, that child, to sleep. Hahaha, this greedy and cowardly guy, even if he's the most powerful in the world, what's wrong? Hey, second brother, why did your face turn black? You're actually 3 points darker than me, old Zhang. Liu Bei closed his eyes in pain, constantly cursing Zhang Fei in his heart. At a critical moment, it's irredeemable to uncover scars again. And there's the little rascal Cao Xuan. With a sickly and ghostly appearance, how could he imitate his father to forcibly snatch a wife? I'm not afraid of dying in bed. Liu Bei couldn't calm Guan Yu's jealousy, but now he has been easily provoked by Cao Xuan. I can't help but argue later. Damn it, you angry little beast. At this moment, Guan Yu was furious, with a pair of phoenix eyes that were even bigger than copper bells. The cold voice of Mori came from his mouth, carrying endless resentment and hatred. Cao Xuan, I swear to kill him. I swear to kill him. Ding, obtain resentment from Liu Bei, points plus 103. Ding, obtain resentment from Guan Yu, points plus 3008. Ding, obtain resentment from Zhang Fei, points plus 27. Cao Xuan, buried in deep thought in the system space. After hearing the system prompt, I instinctively frowned and looked puzzled. What the hell are these three scumbags doing? For no reason, why did they suddenly hold a grudge against me? And there's also Guan Yu, that old lecherous embryo, whose resentment value instantly exceeded 1,000. I don't know what Liu Bei said to him. It's like a firecracker, just a quick hit. Cao Xuan had no good feelings for Liu Bei, and even towards his two foolish younger brothers, he had no kindness at all. Guan Yu and Zhang Fei have strong combat capabilities, but they cannot be used by me and can only be listed as mortal enemies. Moreover, with Xiao Bu as a loyal dog, Cao Xuan really doesn't have much interest in anyone else. 1 LV, 2 Zhao, 3 Dianwei, 4 levels, 5 horses, and 6 Zhang Fei. Among them, the ranking of generals behind Liu Bu has never been unified for thousands of years. Only LV Bu, the chief general, deserves his name without any controversy. Well, I'm too lazy to bother with those three miscellaneous people. As long as they're still in Chao camp for a day, there's plenty of opportunity to tidy up. The resentment value required to exchange for a tiger and leopard cavalry soldier is too high, isn't it? Tiger and leopard cavalry, Cao Cao's ace troops, claim to be able to fight against 10 enemies with unparalleled combat power. At the current time point, Cao Cao has not yet established a tiger and leopard cavalry organization. If Cao Xuan could have such an invincible army. Faced with the upcoming Battle of Guandu, there will be a great chance of victory. Can you think of a resentment value of 200,000 points? Cao Xuan's head suddenly swelled. You should know that he trained Xiao Bu like a dog, and so far, he has only obtained less than 30,000 resentment points. If you want to accumulate an elite team of tiger and leopard riders, you don't know how long it will take to complete it. It seems that the intensity of training needs to be further enhanced. Cao Xuan squinted his eyes and already had thoughts in his heart. As long as you can't die, go ahead and torture yourself. Who allowed you to score? Young master, Cao Buxing has not lived up to his fate and has brought Diao Chan here. Not long after, Cao Bu slowly walked into the room with a graceful young woman. Hu Qi Su Zhu followed closely behind. Cao Xuan looked curiously at the rumored first beauty of the three kingdoms. Indeed, she looks beautiful and charming, and I still pity her when I see her. From beginning to end, Diao Chan hung her head down, showing no signs of sadness or joy. Miss Diao Chan's complexion is not very good, it should be due to days of war and not resting well. Xiao Bu, you go to the door and guard. I will accompany Miss Diao Chan to rest up. Remember, no one can enter without my orders. Chapter 6. The Desperate Cao Xuan. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 6. The Desperate Cao Xuan. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 9870. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 7820. Ding, obtain resentment from Diao Chan, points plus 430. 3 consecutive system prompts brought joy to Cao Xuan's heart. It's not that he has a tendency towards abuse, but rather that he uses this pair of infatuated men and women to brush up resentment points, which is really satisfying. Especially Cao Bu, this jealous jar, is afraid that his lungs are about to explode at this moment. AG is in love with others inside the house, but she has to guard the door and act as a lackey to guard the house. The feeling of wearing this green hat from head to toe is so exhilarating that it's hard to resist. As for the resentment generated by Diao Chan, it is much lower than that of Liu Bei. This woman comes from a servant background and has a low status. At the beginning, in Wang Yun's mansion, it was even created as a tool to separate the father-son relationship between Dongshui and Lv Bu. Survival in turbulent times is inherently difficult. Not to mention that Diao Chan is just a woman, even a 7-foot man can only compromise. Although I have been living a peaceful life with this bastard Lv Bu over the years. But now that Liu Bu has been defeated, he is like a lost dog, relying on others to make a living. Diao Chan, a vassal product, can only be traded as goods. However, Diao Chan originally thought that the one who insulted him tonight would be the Xiong Cao Cao. I didn't expect to be a graceful young man. Except for his weak body, his complexion has deteriorated slightly. Cao Xuanjuan's handsome appearance and elegant demeanor are much better than those rough warriors. Even Liu Bu, who was young, was slightly inferior to him. The enmity of taking a wife is unforgettable. Cao Bu's heart was filled with resentment, eager to tear Cao Xuan into pieces and dispel his resentment. But Su Chu was like a nail, stuck in place. A pair of tiger eyes stared fixedly at him, not giving up a single step. Cao Bu had no doubt that any reckless actions would lead to catastrophic consequences. After much thought, he could only respectfully step out of the room and stand in front of the door, extremely humiliated, motionless. Since choosing to live a miserable life, all dignity is just a fleeting illusion, nothing more. After Cao Bu left, Diao Chan let out a light sigh and then bowed to Cao Xuan. I have a graceful posture like a willow, and I hope that the young master will show mercy. Next, Diao Chan placed her hand on her belt and prepared to loosen her clothes and sleep. Stop, when I say, sleep, it means sleep. There's no other meaning. Cao Xuan waved his hand and stopped Diao Chan's next move. It's not that he has a mental illness and doesn't like the top-quality Diao Chan. But now, this body is too weak to withstand blind turmoil. The body is the capital of revolution. Cao Xuan still has a grand plan to pursue in the future, and he must not be fooled by women. As for regulating the body and returning to the peak of male health. In the exchange interface of the system, there are some miraculous medicines with good effects. However, the required points require at least several 100,000 resentment points as a foundation. Not Cao Xuan now, he can afford it. Young master, since you don't like me, why are you playing tricks to humiliate General Fei like this? Diao Chan lifted her head and looked at Cao Xuan with watery eyes, resentful. Although this woman has a humble status, she also has some intelligence and is not a pure vase. Although the flying general was defeated by your father, he was once a great hero in cutting off Dongshui's troubles, the emperor, the conferred Marquis Wan, and a hero destined to be remembered in history. Young master, don't you know that your actions will leave an unpleasant reputation in history books and be ridiculed by future generations? Later generations. Cao Xuan sneered. History books are just toilet paper for winners, you can wipe them any way you want. Moreover, if those who achieve great things are all afraid of future speech, why not hesitate and miss many opportunities in vain? Cao Xuan was too lazy to talk to the woman about these truths, but curiously looked at Diao Chan and smiled. So, according to your wishes, what should I do? Diao Chan did not answer immediately, but lifted her skirt and knelt respectfully on the ground. Minu Diao Chan, willing to die with General Fei. Hehe, I've been saying it for a while just to seek death. I still want to pull Cao Bu together. Is this young master good-tempered? Cao Xuan squinted his eyes, his face gloomy at the same time, while Cao Xuan and Diao Chan were talking. Outside the wing room, a majestic figure quietly appeared. General Su Chu, pay respects to the Lord. Cao Bu, pay respects to Duke Chao. Su Chu and Cao Bu knelt down one after another, bowing and kowtowing. Cao Cao, with a tired face, glanced at Cao Bu, then waved his sleeve and asked, "Is Xianer in the room? Has he slept?" After rectifying the military affairs in Shipi City, Cao Cao had nothing to do and came specifically to chat with his son. I also want to ask him why he knows the method of domesticating hungry wolves by the Chang ethnic group. Lord, Master Xuan, he. Su Chu's face stiffened, unsure of how to speak. I can't tell Cao Cao that your favorite son is forcing his subordinate's concubine to sleep. Such debauchery and immorality, if spread, will become a laughingstock in the world. At that time, even if Cao Cao dotes on Cao Xuan, he will gradually distance himself from him due to his concern for reputation. Cao Bu remained silent and knelt on the ground, sneering incessantly. Aren't you Cao Xuan being debauched and immoral? Now that you have done something ugly and have been caught and raped by your father in bed, what face do you have to face others with? Chapter 7. My child's father. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. My child's father. Seemingly seeing the embarrassment in Su Chu's eyes, Cao Cao raised his sword eyebrows and said coldly, "You two leave, I want to go in alone." Su Chu naturally dared not disobey Cao Cao's orders. But Cao Bu arched his hand and said in a deep voice, "I would like to inform Duke Chao that the young master is discussing the matter of Feng Yu with his beloved concubine Diao Chan. The young master has instructed that no one can enter the chamber without his command." Cao Bu's voice was neither humble nor overbearing, with no hint of anger or hatred. It seems like the woman in the room has nothing to do with herself. Loyal and ungrateful what? Cao Cao's head went dizzy and he almost couldn't stand. Rebel son. Surprisingly, such an ugly thing as being inferior to a beast. If you want to sleep with Diao Chan, you could have killed Lv Bu and taken possession of it openly. At most, this will result in a reputation for being lascivious and not being hated by others. But what's going on now? Relying on one's own status and prestige, forcibly occupying a subordinate's beloved concubine. What is the difference between this dirty behavior and those like Dong Zhuo and Lu Bu back then? Get lost. Cao Cao's face turned red as he kicked away Cao Bu, who couldn't get up from his knees, in an attempt to rush into the room. But the next second, Cao Cao stopped his steps again. If they really see an indecent scene, how should their father and son get along in the future? Cao Cao had many advisors under his command, and there were also many loyal ministers who dared to give direct advice. If they all accuse Cao Xuan of indulging in debauchery, it will have a very negative impact. Even Cao Cao couldn't protect him. Ah, rebellious son, you really have trouble finding a father. Just as Cao Cao was about to turn around and leave, he no longer thought about these troublesome things. Cao Xuanlang's voice reached his ears through the gap in the door. Miss Diao Chan, you may have misunderstood me. For this young master, the least feared thing is what you say about future generations. This is the same as my father. Like me. Cao Cao couldn't help but be taken aback, so he put his ear to the door, wanting to hear what Cao Xuan was saying. Inside, Cao Xuan played with the dragon-shaped jade pendant in his hand and looked at the disdainful Diao Chan, saying calmly. Miss Diao Chan, don't look at me with such eyes. I can give the simplest example to prove my point. Back then, after my father captured Shuzhou, if we were concerned about future generations' opinions, we should not slaughter indiscriminately, slaughtering hundreds of thousands of aristocratic people, not even leaving chickens and dogs. That massacre caused the city of Shuzhou to block the sky and even the Sisui River, as corpses piled up like mountains and could not move. Perhaps you may feel cruel, but not doing so is not enough. In today's chaotic world, with feudal lords and towns being divided, there are also a few people who have a strong attachment to the Han Dynasty and are loyal ministers of the Han Dynasty. At that time, the aristocrats of Shuzhou relied on their own land, which had always been a battleground for military strategists. They became frivolous and arrogant, without any loyalty to monarchs or officials. Like Tao Qian and others, they disregarded the court's laws and regulations, treating the Han emperor supported by my father as a yellow-mouthed child and disdaining him. Finally, he also supported his own army and respected himself, trying to compete with my father. The people are ignorant. Under Tao Qian's malicious guidance, the aristocratic people hated my father to the bone. When the city of Shuzhou was destroyed, the people besieged the soldiers and became a mob. In that situation, any feudal lord in the world would use the strongest means to intimidate this group of brainless ghosts and snakes. Not killing is not enough to demonstrate the orthodox Tian way of the Han Dynasty. Not killing is not enough to maintain order, ethics, and Taoism. My father knew that doing so would attract criticism from future generations and shape him into a cruel and ruthless monarch. But there's no way. In the era of great struggle, if you want to cut off the dross, you can only let go of kindness and transform into a cultivator, in order to demonstrate the way of the king. Just like Cao Bu now, he was both defeated by my father and chose to survive, which means he has lost his past glory and is just a homeless dog with no dignity to speak of. Remember, waste has no right to say no. Diao Chan's body trembled as she looked at Cao Xian's gaze, devoid of any emotion except for shock and fear. The handsome young master in front of me, at the age of 15 or 16, why does he have such a mind? Consider the world as a plaything. This courage is as formidable as his father Cao Cao. Outside, Cao Cao was also shocked beyond measure. He once thought that no one in the world could understand his thunderous methods back then. Even the trusted strategist Guo Jia described the events of the past as punishing crimes and hanging the people, ancient laws and regulations. The meaning is that the killing was too heavy and had to be done as a last resort. Although there is a bias, there is also some blame mixed in. I didn't expect Cao Xian, this inexperienced child, to be able to connect with his own feelings and resonate with each other. Having a son like this, what can I hope for? My son's father, my son's father. For a long time, Cao Cao slowly uttered 4 words, then he felt refreshed and walked away with a smile. Watching Cao Cao's receding figure, Xiao Bu was completely stunned. My son is like a father. What does this mean? Is it difficult for your son not to learn well and learn that you love a wife, or is it a commendable thing? Pooh, what a pair of despicable thieves, father and son. Xiao Bu gritted his teeth and cursed secretly. Chapter 8. Is this Zhongda not that Zhongda? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Is this Zhongda not that Zhongda? Early morning. Xiapi City, inside the wing room. As soon as Cao Xian opened his eyes, he saw Diao Chan lying on the Grand Tutor's chair with her eyes closed. The woman's pretty face was full of haggard expressions, clearly indicating that she had not slept well. Thinking of the unreasonable demands I made before going to bed last night. Cao Xian's mouth curved slightly, his smile even stronger. In order to stimulate Xiao Bu's nerves, he continuously provided resentment points. Cao Xian ordered Diao Chan to shake the bed all night and make a slight noise. Create a false impression of 2 people coexisting. Although Diao Chan was unwilling in her heart, she still followed suit. She was originally from a servant background, with a humble status, and was accustomed to being served by her master. For nobles and nobles like Cao Xuan, they are even more afraid and dare not refuse. Moreover, there is no need to sleep, just making some noise is already a great gift from heaven. Cao Xuan didn't disturb Diao Chan's deep sleep. After a simple wash, he eagerly entered the system space to check last night's results. When he saw the newly added resentment points in the system, he was shocked and couldn't close his mouth. Surprisingly, there are 98,765 points. Who knows how Xiao Bu, the adult vinegar king, managed to survive last night? I'm afraid the lungs are going to explode with anger. Cao Xuan smiled maliciously. If we hire Diao Chan to sleep every day and then let LV guard outside the door, I'm afraid it won't take long to exchange for a complete tiger and leopard cavalry elite camp. Of course, Cao Xuan knew that this was just his own fantasy and could not be realized. The reason why Xiao Bu was able to contribute a large amount of resentment in a short period of time was because Diao Chan held a very high position in his heart, which was difficult to accept for a while. As time goes by, this obsession will naturally gradually diminish. Cao Xuan has great confidence in his dog training plan. When Xiao Bu was completely subdued, he probably didn't even have the courage to take a glance at Diao Chan. If you have made a windfall and don't squander it, how can you justify your hard work? With nothing to do, Cao Xuan exchanged a bag of top-dot quality hibiscus king and leisurely lit a cigarette. Experience the comfort of nicotine burning in the lungs after tobacco is ignited. Cao Xuan's mood suddenly improved throughout the day. A cigarette in the morning, happy like a fairy. It seems that some exchange items in the system are still very necessary to exist. Cao Xuan chuckled and took a deep breath. Cough. What kind of smell, it's so choking. Diao Chan, who had inhaled secondhand smoke, suddenly woke up from her sleep. When she saw Cao Xuan swallowing clouds and exhaling mist, her eyes were filled with surprise. Young master, what are you doing? Cao Xuan was too lazy to explain Diao Chan's curiosity, but instead took a strong puff and spat out a smoke ring at her. Cough. The pungent smell once again made Diao Chan cough lightly and his face turn red. Cao Xuan did not feel any remorse for cherishing fragrance and jade. After giving her a good rest, she got up and left the wing room. Diao Chan silently gazed at Cao Xuan's back with a resentful gaze. Why is this annoying enemy always so inexplicable? Although I haven't been with Cao Xuan for long, he left a deep impression on Diao Chan. Arrogance, arrogance, wit. Although he regards life as worthless, he has lofty aspirations, no less than his father Cao Cao. The mystery of men is always the poison that captures women's hearts. Unconsciously, Cao Xuan's voice, appearance often appeared in Diao Chan's mind and could not be spontaneous. On the contrary, Liu Bu's bold and heroic demeanor back then became increasingly subdued. I'm afraid it won't be long before it completely disappears from her memory. You should know that women's speed of moving on to other relationships is sometimes faster than you imagine. Ding, gain resentment from Diao Chan, points plus 13. Cao Xuan frowned and felt a little unhappy. Only 13 points. Did you intentionally spit out the cigarette ring on Diao Chan's face to gain such a little resentment value? It's too little, isn't it? In the 21st century, if a man dares to do so, he may be slapped on the spot. Diao Chan naturally dared not strike people, but it was only natural for her to curse a few words in her heart. Cao Xuan shook his head, unable to guess a woman's thoughts and too lazy to do so. Because there is something more important to do today, waiting for myself to do it. Pushing open the door, I saw Xiao Bu and Su Chu, one on the left and one on the right, pestling like door gods. Su Chu was in good spirits, obviously staying up all night was nothing to him. But Xiao Bu's mental condition is not good. Sunken eye sockets, disheveled hair, and messy beard. A look of anxiety and unease. Obviously, the commotion in the room last night had a huge impact on Xiao Bu's mind, and he also felt a lot haggard. Seeing Cao Xuan walking out of the room, he still looked refreshed and refreshed. A cold light flashed in Xiao Bu's eyes, but quickly disappeared. Ding! Obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 12980. Are you breaking 10,000 again? Cao Xuan laughed so hard that he couldn't even close his mouth. The Vinegar King is truly the Vinegar King, a skilled scorer. General Cao Bu, thank you for keeping watch for my young master. Cao Xuan said lightly. Chu dare not slack off on his responsibilities. Chu remained as sincere as ever, never speaking empty words. Cao Bu is fortunate enough to protect the young master, which is truly a blessing for 3 lives. Cao Bu is quite slippery. Although he hates Cao Xuan to death in his heart, his flattery are still quite a few words. Cao Xuan nodded in satisfaction. Just as he was about to go out for a stroll and trouble the big-eared thief Liu Bei. A man with a purple jade face and a strong physique walked in quickly. General LV, the situation is not good. Zhongda and Gong Tai are all determined to die, but have been ordered by Cao Gong to be taken to the execution ground and will soon be interrogated and executed. General LV, I beg you to take action and save their lives. The big man faced Cao Bu and knelt down on one knee, with tears in his eyes. It's actually him. Cao Xuan recognized this person's identity at a glance. It was Zhang Liao, Zhang Wenyuan, who was the leader of the 5 sons of the 5 great generals, who defeated Wu Huan with a swift and decisive attack. This is a great talent. Cao Xuan's eyes were bright, but he frowned and became somewhat displeased. Cao Xuan remembered that Zhang Liao and Guan Yu had a good relationship, and the 2 of them had mutual affection and had an unbreakable friendship. Due to Liu Bei's relationship, Guan Yu was already equated with the dead in Cao Xuan's heart. Driven by hatred towards the house and Wu, Cao Xuan also disliked Zhang Liao. The friend of the enemy, that is the enemy. Even if you are Dad's #1 favorite, it's not possible. However, in Zhang Liao's words, it is mentioned that a person named Zhongda is about to be sentenced and beheaded. This piqued Cao Xuan's interest in the 3 kingdoms. Besides Sima Yi, who else could be a famous figure with the courtesy name Zhongda? However, based on the timeline calculation. At this moment, Sima Yi is flirting with Su Chang and Chao Pai, and it is impossible for him to appear in Shepi City. So who would this Zhongda be? Just as Cao Xuan was lost in thought, a sudden flash of inspiration flashed in his mind. Think of a famous general forgotten by history. Gao Shun. Chapter 9. Old man, would you like some green lotus? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Old man, would you like some green lotus? In history, Gao Shun's reputation was far inferior to many famous generals such as Liu Bu and Zhang Liao. At most, it can only be ranked alongside Hao Meng, Zhang Ba, and others. But it's the turn to march and deploy. With the ability to command 1,000 troops, Gao Shun will not lose to anyone. Especially the troops he led were invincible, earning the reputation of being trapped in the camp. If it weren't for LV Bu's incompetence and lack of virtue, who refused to use Gao Shun, I'm afraid Cao Cao wouldn't have easily captured Xiapi. In history, Gao Shun remained loyal to Liu Bu throughout his life. After being captured, he would rather die than surrender and was ultimately beheaded. On the contrary, Zhang Liao not only did not follow his former master, but also surrendered to Cao Cao on the recommendation of Guan Yu. So, just in terms of atmosphere, Zhang Liao Yuan cannot compare to Gao Shun. After learning about Gao Shun's whereabouts, Cao Xuan had an idea in his heart. If we could recruit Gao Shun under our command and become the commander of tiger and leopard cavalry in the future, wouldn't it be like adding wings to a tiger? Cao Bu, this guy has a high level of military strength. He fights alone and looks down upon others. But with his pig brain, commanding high-level troops such as tigers, leopards, and cavalry is still lacking in firepower. Cao Xuan was not prepared to cultivate Xiao Bu on the path of a world-renowned general. As long as he can be a close attendant with peace of mind, protect himself, and occasionally brush some resentment points, that is enough. Zhang Liao, stop talking nonsense. I am grateful for the kindness of Master Xuan and have changed my name to Cao Bu. I am no longer your ruler. As for Gao Shan and Chen Gong, it's not that I don't want to save them, but that I don't have the ability to save them. Besides, they are stubborn and seek their own way of death. If it were me, I would have killed them in public like Cao Gong. Master Xuan, are you right? Cao Bu has always been selfish and disregarding the lives of others. With his intelligence, I thought this clumsy flattery would make Cao Xiangao take a glance at him. Unexpectedly, Cao Xuan glared at Cao Bu and shouted coldly, "Speak up. Step back." After touching Cao Bu with a nose full of dust, he could only sneer and hide behind Su Chu, no longer speaking. Ding, obtain resentment from Cao Bu, points plus 580. Cao Xuan was now all focused on subduing Gao Shan, but he didn't bother to pay attention to Cao Bu's clumsy head. So he said to Zhang Liao, "You, lead the way ahead. Perhaps I can save someone." Upon hearing that Cao Xuan was willing to save someone, Zhang Liao was naturally overjoyed. Cao Xianchong spoke in a tone that was extremely harsh and overbearing. It seems that he looks very displeased. Zhang Liao was greatly puzzled in his heart, not knowing when he had offended this Xian young master, but he dared not ask questions. I can only bury my head and lead the way ahead. Under the city of Shepi, there is an execution platform. Gong Tai, you have the talent to govern the world and be a good minister. I am reluctant to kill you. Why not surrender to loneliness? It's better than being a dead soul under a knife and risking one's life in vain. On the stands, Cao Cao, dressed in a red handsome robe, silently gazed at Chen Gong with a look of regret in his eyes. This is already the third time Cao Cao has persuaded Chen Gong to surrender. And the words are sincere, not like acting. If it were an ordinary general, Boss Cao naturally wouldn't have the patience. I've already clicked on it, how could I spend so much time talking? But Chen Gong is different. Cao Cao truly appreciates his talent and hopes to work together with him to achieve great things. At that time, Cao Cao had just raised an issue, and Chen Gong was also one of the first group of strategists to seek refuge. If it weren't for Bien Rang's death, which made him disheartened, he would unite with everyone to rebel against Cao Cao. So there won't be today's situation. Cao thief, please save yourself. Chen Gong would rather die than be with you. You were originally a lowly person after a eunuch, and your nature was cruel and immoral. It's because the heavens are blind that you, like a petty person, gain power. However, Cao Cao, don't be complacent too early. Yuan Shao's strength in the north is several times that of you. In the next battle, you must be captured and killed, your whole family will be wiped out, and there will be no place to bury yourself. Chen Gong, who was bound up in various ways, still remained calm and cursed loudly, not at all like a prisoner awaiting death. Famous figures like Chen Gong, who are conceited and talented, value reputation the most and have long underestimated life and death. It's so satisfying to scold Cao Cao before death. Perhaps this scolding, recorded by historians, will still be remembered for centuries and become a timeless tale. Vertical. Old Pifu. I'm going to cut you alive. Cao Cao's curse on Chen Gong can be ignored. When he was a general under his command, he had long been torn apart and furious. Chao Ren, Xiahou Dun, Xiahou Yuan, and others all spoke out angrily at Chen Gong, wishing to personally behead his dog head. Hahaha, a group of dead bones in the tomb are clamoring and barking. How could I be afraid of you as soon as I die? Chen Gong roared up to the sky, then extended his head under the knife and shouted loudly, "Swordsman, why don't you cut off my head quickly, otherwise the Cao thief will have trouble sleeping and eating, hahaha." Unlike Chen Gong, who had to force and nag before his death. Cao Xuan is much quieter. It's not that he doesn't hate Cao Cao, but rather that Cao Xuan has lost his goal of surviving at this time. He was only loyal to Liu Bu in his lifetime. Even under various suspicions, I will not forget my original intention and would rather die without regret. Now, in order to make a living, LV Bu would rather change his name and surname, becoming a guard for a yellow-mouthed child, which is ridiculed by people all over the world. There is such a monarch. Gao Xuanzhen was born without love. Well, my whole life was just a joke. Gao Xuan closed his eyes in pain, waiting for the butcher's knife to fall. Seeing Qin Gong and others determined to seek death, Cao Cao could only shake his head helplessly and then wave his hand, indicating that the swordsmen knew about their lives. At this moment, the familiar voice rang out again. "Father, leave someone with the sword." At a critical moment, Cao Xian finally arrived. "Xianer, why did you come?" Cao Cao's eyes lit up and his face showed joy. "Did Xianer rush here to help Dugu summon Qin Gong to surrender?" "My son is intelligent and quick-witted, there must be a way." Not only did Cao Cao believe that Cao Xian was here to plead for mercy on behalf of Qin Gong. Even Qin Gong himself thinks the same. Qin Gong sneered repeatedly at the corners of his mouth, feeling extremely happy in his heart. Just finished slapping Cao Cao's old face, now his son Cao Xian is actively reaching out to fan himself. This thief father and son are too despicable. In future historical records, it is feared that Cao Cao and his son will be forever nailed to the pillar of shame. Thinking of this, Qin Gong laughed heartily and said, "Yellow-mouthed child, why do you also want to surrender me? It's just a pipe dream. I have been loyal and righteous all my life, and I am worthy of it. Stop it." Before Qin Gong could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Cao Xian's cold voice. "Old Pifu, do you want some green lotus? Who said I'm here to plead for you? You have a big face. You are such a disloyal and arrogant old rascal, and you deserve to mention the words loyalty and righteousness. I'm sorry. Even the most shameless Xiao Bu in our family is much more loyal than you." "What kind of thing?"